Here we are, reviewing the final installment in the Race and Rescue Expanded Universe series, Kathy Copter. Perhaps the character that makes the least sense in the series, and that's saying a lot considering Mattel strapped a roof rack of cones to Sally and expect her to go into the blazing flames and do what exactly? So let's go through, let's have some fun here and give Mattel some alternative suggestions for who could have taken up this spot. What about Marco the Jet? I mean, if we're just doing any aerial vehicles now, like, again, Kathy is a media reporter, journalist for the RSN Racing Sports Network. So why not Marco the Jet? I think he would have been awesome. You could have downscaled him. What about Ron Hover? Why are we picking Kathy over Ron when Ron could be just as capable as Kathy? I feel like it's a little bit of shade on poor Mr. Hover right there. What about Al Off the Blimp? You already have the smaller scale version that you could have fit into the single here. Race and Rescue Al Off the Blimp would have gone crazy. What about, because you're doing it in the mini racers anyways, the Dynaco helicopter Rotor Turboski to be consistent with what you're releasing in the mini racers. And it's okay, this is the deluxe version, but you've already done a smaller version back in 2008 that would have fit in the single packaging, and that's probably what they're doing with Rotor in 2026. So it would have kind of paved the way for that release. Well, what about a helicopter that makes a little bit more sense that's already been in the rescue business, and that is Rescue Squad Chopper from either Moon Mater or Rescue Squad Mater. Now, that's just not very marketable because it's Rescue Squad Chopper, doesn't really have much of a name. So let's do one of the most iconic aerial vehicles, aerial crafts from Cars, and that's Barney Stormin. Race and Rescue Barney Stormin. You know what? No. Let's jump over to the Planes franchise where we got several more. I mean, the Planes franchise seems to lend itself to this kind of stuff, especially the second movie. But let's cover the reporter helicopters first because that is what Mattel is interested in here with Kathy Copter. So how about Vasquez here? He would be pretty cool, right? What about Roscoe, who's already in kind of rescue colors here? I would be down for Roscoe. What about a helicopter that actually rescued someone? Hector Vector rescuing Dusty out of the ocean. That would have been kind of cool. He's already a smaller helicopter. But let's jump to Planes Fire and Rescue, which, I mean, that sounds like Race and Rescue. It might make sense with Big Boy Blade Ranger. Downscale him, throw him in there. That'd be cool. I mean, they're releasing Mike 07 next year. I mean, it doesn't get more random than that. What about his canceled partner from the Chops TV show, Nick Lupin Lopez? It would be the most Mattel thing ever to release a Race and Rescue Nick Lupin Lopez after canceling the original version in 2016. This is a prototype that leaked out, by the way. You know what? We can't forget about Windlifter, who, again, is a big boy helicopter that could make a play, could be downscaled. But you know what, guys? Scratch all of that. This is what I would have done. Race and Rescue Windlifter with sunglasses downscaled. Now that would have made 2025 one of the best main lines ever. But instead, here we have Kathy Copter, and we're going to try and make the best out of her. She is from 2025 Singles KZ. I just unboxed it the other day. I'll leave the link for it in the description below and card session pop up in the top right hand corner. It's actually not a bad case, as her casemate Rally Race Cal Weathers is a pretty nice release. You also have Eugene Carbureski and High Impact back in the case, among others. Now, she is coming back for 2026, so if you miss her this go around, don't worry, she'll be back. Whereas Cal, Jeff, Sally, they will not be back. I will do a video at some point telling you which R&Rs are back, which R&Rs are not back, but I feel like I've kind of already given you a pretty good idea. I think I've covered everybody. You either know from the first couple cases and 2-packs cases, or I've told you about them. So I think it's pretty much confirmed who's coming back and who's not. Sarge is, by the way, that is one that I'm not sure if I mentioned, and Mater. But on the back here, you do have the casemate Cal Weathers. You have Sally, Morgan, and Jeff, all from Case Y. And then Red, who has been in just actually one case. He was in Case W, but he's already back for 2026 Singles Case A. So I'll be right back with Kathy all opened up. I do want to say, though, she's been popping up at Target stores across the U.S. and actually Kohl's stores, KOHL''S, for about $5-6, so a little more expensive, but you might have a better chance of finding a full case there than at Target.
Right now I'm living in a daydream. It will leave my mind. When I'm with you, yeah, nothing really matters. Don't need money or time.
So I would give Kathy a pass if we didn't have Radiator Springs coming back next year. And honestly, I lied. I still would give Mattel crap for releasing this. I mean, it's really like, what the hell are we doing? I mean, if you look in the book here, Kathy's not even in the book. And yet there are some better alternatives in the book that you could have done. I mean, you could have done Chick Hicks' Pities. Rally Race Bruiser Bukowski would have actually been a really cool release. I mean, Sally doesn't even appear with the roof rack. Cal Weathers doesn't appear in his proper paint job. I think Ramon would have been the best release if we're just picking one to replace Kathy. But it really just feels like they looked at what they've released recently and they're like, oh yeah, Kathy, yeah, we released her like last year. Let's just do her. And then later they were like, oh yeah, we could still do the Radiator Springs character. So let's do him as a Race and Rescue mini racer because we've already done him as a mini. We don't want to have to create a whole new mold, whole new model for a mini racer Kathy Copter. And then let's just do Radiator Springs in the singles next year, kind of like a 20th anniversary release. But by no means is it new, right? New, what are you talking about? Guys, I know I'm being negative, but I'm just being honest, and I am in a kind of dark place with the Cars line right now. I am disappointed in the 2026 offerings. I am even more disappointed coming off of disappointing 2025. I do think 2024 was good. I think 2023 and 2022 were pretty good. But what we got coming for what should be one of the best years of the franchise, considering 20 years, I think it's a tremendous letdown. But let's just review Kathy for what she is, and I actually think she is a very nice paint job. Putting aside the fact that she makes zero sense, I actually really do vibe with her paint job. It meshes together nicely. The dark blue looks really good and breaks up the red and yellow that we are just inundated with on all these other race and rescue cars. Like, again, I think McQueen looks good. I think Mater looks good, but they have so little of this navy blue. Like, Mater just has it, side view mirrors and trim. Ramon has it. Again, just some trim there. Not Ramon. Red has it. Again, it's really just used as a trim piece. Like with Morgan Martins there. Again, just a trim piece. And then the other ones, kind of just maintain their original paint jobs. They slap some new decals on, but they don't really get any, new paint schemes. With Kathy, though, they use the blue to its fullest extent, and it looks really nice here on the cap and on the landing gear. I'm a big fan of that. She does have a pretty unique R&R logo there on her cap, just a basic abstract yellow version of it. I don't think we've seen that. I mean, we've seen similar ones, like with Sarge here in the maroon and beige. We've seen the gold one on Sheriff, but we haven't seen this yellow one, I don't believe, unless I'm just completely tweaking. Well, I guess this one on Morgan Martins is pretty similar. It's a little different, though. It's like the inverse of what we see there on Morgan Martins. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Yeah, there are a couple versions of this logo. They love to recolor this thing. But, yeah, I don't have the Thailand version of Kathy Copter loose, but I don't think that's very relevant for this review here. You do have the typical Radiator Springs Race and Rescue logo. You have the rescue text there. Yeah, I actually really vibe with the paint job. I'm not going to lie. Just in a vacuum on her own merit, it's a pretty good executed release. Like if the decision makers at Mattel are like, someone design me a Race and Rescue Kathy Copter, like gun to your head, you have to do it. And this poor intern or poor designer is like, no, it makes no sense. Please don't make me do this, please. And they're like, got the gun to the head, like you have to design this thing. They popped out a pretty good design. Like, yeah, I think I've made my points here. You have the microphone here, which is a plastic piece connected to the speaker or whatever that is. You have the spotlight here there at the bottom because, of course, this race is definitely taking place during the darkness, during the night. Sarcasm. Look how big that cavity is. Like, you could fit a lot of stuff up there. That's crazy. U28A means she was produced during the 28th week of 2025 at the A factory. Yeah, even they got this little stripe flare on the tail wing here. So I'm pretty impressed. Everything propels and spins. If I can hit it properly. You got the red tips on the end as well, which I guess is something that carried over from the original Kathy. But yeah, I mean, I always liked original Kathy as well, though. Like, it just looks nice being just red, and it fits with the RSN decals. Ron Hover was a little strange to me because he's got like the CRSN logo, which feels like an older version of RSN, but it was a good way for Pixar to differentiate them. So I think I've always preferred Kathy. So I don't mind that they chose her over Ron, but I think, yeah, Ron was last released in 2022, if I am not mistaken, 2021 and 2022, perhaps, I think so. And Kathy was just released last year. Pretty rare release, actually. Dried up pretty quickly. So yeah, I like Kathy here quite a bit, despite it not making any sense. So, I'm trying to be as honest and realistic with you guys as possible. I might not like her inclusion. I might not like the fact that she made it in this line over Ramon. Now, maybe, again, the book was developed later. I don't understand how it all came to be with the book and Mattel. Like, who originally created and thought up Race and Rescue, and then Mattel kind of like leased out the designs to the book company, and the book company made that. And I don't know, then who would have devised up Ramon? Like, it almost makes me feel like the book company. I just don't know. I don't understand how it came to be, how the Race and Rescue thing was conceived, just because there is such a massive discrepancy between what is depicted in the book and what is depicted through the diecast line. Like, that's my main thing. Like, and I guess it's happened before. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say, man. Like with the not the Glow Racers, the Neon Racers book, you have just additional cars in the book that were not made as diecast. And you could just chalk it up to Mattel, just cancel them. Or, I mean, they did not cancel them, at least that we know of. They didn't. By the way, there is a difference here between like the Chinese helicopters in this model and the Thailand version. This hat now is a plastic piece, whereas before it was a part of the main metal body. But that's something for, the Thailand Kathy Copter and the Thailand Ron Hover and all that as well. But yeah, I mean, at least with the Neon Racers, you're like, all right, they just did not release Jeff, Carla, Francesco, and Rip, whatever. But with this book, there are just some major differences that just make really no sense. Like, how did Sally end up getting the roof rack as the diecast, and she didn't even have that in the book? And Ramon seems like a slam dunk of a release, and just do a 2-pack with Flo. That makes sense. No, don't do that. Actually do a bunch of diecasts that don't appear in the book. Morgan Martins, Adam Roadriguez, Kathy Copter. And then, include Cal Weathers in the book, but don't actually give him his paint job, but include him in the line with the Rally Race paint job. So it's like they had the design for it, but then just didn't put it into the book. I need to understand how that gap was bridged, and then how that bridge was burned. And then we just ended up with kind of two like Frankenstein entities of Race and Rescue, two different like parallel universes of Race and Rescue, diecast, and then step in the reading book. All right, guys, that's all I have for you. You could headcanon, and we'll talk about this when the Mini Racer comes out, which I think it is as a single in maybe Australia right now. The Rotor Turboski, Race and Rescue Rotor Turboski. You could headcanon that it is actually the Rescue Squad Chopper here, because Rotor is the same model as the Rescue Squad Chopper. Alright guys, that's pretty much all I have for this video. I know we got into the lore heavily, and yeah, it was a lot of fun talking through all those aerial crafts. I know I didn't include them all, so don't comment saying I forgot somebody. I included who I wanted to include, and that was that. And so now, the question is, who is your favorite Race and Rescue release? Let's just say, yeah, for now, Race and Rescue, excluding all the Rally Racers. So, for me, I honestly don't know. I'm going to do a ranking video for everybody. I could tell you who it's not. But I honestly think it does come down between Morgan, Guido, and Mater, which is kind of insane. But right now, that's who I'm kind of feeling. We'll talk through it more when I do a full ranking video, and that probably will include the rally racers as well, although it's kind of hard to compare those. We'll talk about that later. Thanks as always for watching. Bye now.
Got these feelings.